Hello, and thank you for joining Speaking of Happy. I am Eli Rigatuso, your host for this evening. Tonight's guest has been involved in Omaha theater since 1989, an award-winning actor and director with an MFA in directing from the University of Memphis. Stevens is thrilled to bring important LGBTQ+ stories to the community through the first LGBTQ+ operated theater company in Omaha, Voices in Alliance. Starting right now. Hello, hello, hello. Here we are. Another episode of Speaking of Happy. I'm actually really excited about my conversation this evening. I wish that I had had more time to read over this new play that is going to be happening here in Omaha. And I'm just really excited because, of course, it has a transgender focus. So that makes me super duper happy. But my guest this evening is Randall Stevens of Voices in Alliance. Hello, Randall. How are you?
Hi.
Hi
Hi,
there.
good. Do I have the lighting? That's always important. There I am. That's better.
Well, lighting can be funny. It's like if you
Thank you
have
for
big
having me.
screens. Yeah. If you have big screens like
Yes,
mine and I've got something white on the screen, it totally floods me out. See? So there's white on the screen, but then if I get rid of it, I'm not as bright. So, but welcome to the
I know.
show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me, and I've been very excited. I told you I was kind of nervous, but you're in theater, so there you go.
Hey, you know what? I always get the jitters myself before I start a live stream. So it's like, for a variety of reasons. Will anybody be watching? Will we be talking to ourselves? But you know what? I love talking to people, and this is like the easiest way for me to get to know new people and then also share things with folks that actually do tune in and watch the show. I do want to quickly say hello to my friend Kate. Kate says, "Let me in on this video." Well, Kate, you can watch, and if you ask questions as you're listening along, I would be more than happy to put your questions up on screen here. But Randall, let's get into it because, like, I mean, I've been reading
Okay.
through. I've read a couple of reviews about Rotterdam, and I'm just really excited to hear more about it. So, first of all, let's talk about Voices in Alliance. When did you organize? When did
Yeah.
you like? What were you thinking? How did it get started?
hmm So
And go.
it's always been for a while. I've been in theater in for a long time, since the late '80s. And I've established, I've done it all. I've acted and directed everywhere. Got my MFA, and I was at the Blue Barn, and I disbanded that relationship in 2017. And I took some time away from theater, and then the pandemic happened, and we all know that the course of all of our lives. But I'd always wanted to do something just different, and I just thought that need was not being specifically met in the Omaha community. There have been attempts, and theaters have done LGBT-friendly plays with gay characters and gay playwrights, but it just wasn't anyone's mission to do it this way. So my friends can tell
Yeah.
you, I've been working for a couple of years, just working towards it, and I just there was just a moment the past year I said, okay, it's time. You can do it all. You have the experience, you have the wisdom, you have the knowledge. I got my C3. I did all that red tape, and it just was something important once saw that the need for our community was not necessarily being met specifically. So here we are.
Yeah, and so do you have, like, a website? Are you a 501(c)(3) nonprofit? Like, how is the organization established or set up right now?
So, yes, we have our 501(c)(3) certified with the Secretary of State. I've also start donating. um, we what was the second question? I'm sorry.
Well, I was just curious, like, do you have
501c3.
a website where people can find you? I see that you're
Oh,
here
not
on
yet.
Facebook, so I see that there is a
Yep.
Facebook page. Where would
Yep. And
people go to
Instagram.
donate?
So right now, Facebook and Instagram, Voices in the Lion, VIA Omaha. Right. We are working towards a website. That's kind of the next step. So I'm kind of also being from the administrative world. I'm trying to slowly and not trying to um, overwhelm myself, which kind of have been feeling with now that I'm starting to get donations and donor letters and all that part of it. I'm like, oh, I just want to direct a play, but I other stuff that goes with it as well. So we're going slow. So no website yet, but it's soon.
So, do you have a board of directors right now?
I do. Well,
Okay.
I do. So to get your
And I
501c3, you just kind of have
um,
to say I have this.
sure, and I was only asking because I'm
Yeah.
just curious about, like, you know, I'm certain that there are people who are gonna watch this who are looking for ways to volunteer for, local LGBTQ plus
Mhm.
run organizations. Like, that's what this is. This is an organization that's by and
Absolutely.
for folks like us. And you're right, there has never been a theater
And
company,
Mhm.
in Omaha. And I just have one quick question. Do you happen to have headphones
Mhm.
with a microphone on them? Because it'll be better for you to plug in your headphones and talk to me because we're kind of talking over each other sometimes and it cuts out.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's totally fine. It's just that I think it makes it hard for you to
Well,
hear my questions sometime too.
yeah, yeah. You go. I will follow your lead. I promise.
It's all good. It's all good. All right. So, for those of you who are watching and just tuned in, I am speaking with Randall T. Stevens. He is the founder of Voices in Alliance. So, I've got up on screen here right now. This is the Facebook page. So, if you go to facebook.com/VIA Voices in Alliance Omaha, you can like that page and follow that page. But it is a theater company here in Omaha that is established and celebrating LGBTQ plus pride through inspiring, inclusive, diverse, provocative, and complex stories. And so, very cool theater company that is by and for LGBTQ plus folks. So if you just tuned in, that's what we're talking about here. And Randall, you're the founder and chief operator.
Yeah, producing artistic director, technically.
Okay, there you go. Producing artistic director of Voices in Alliance. And so initially, are you going to be in one place doing your thing, or how's this going to work?
That's a great question. So we are this first season, and for a while actually, we're going to be nomadic. Which as a director, I actually like because I different spaces. I can be at a coffee house or in an alley or a warehouse and do what I need to do. Because having the burden of property is kind of a big deal right now. So I'd rather go to different locations. And I've been working with some different spaces. I can't reveal quite yet, but
Yeah.
are excited to have us in their space.
Great, great. I might know of a couple spaces that I can send your way, some information your way on.
Please, please,
Um, and
please.
so you're coming up on your first production, and are you done auditioning for that? I do see here that we've got so on as of June 20th was your last post in regard to Rotterdam. Uh, are you
Mhm.
all casted yet for that?
Not at all. We are having so we're still in the sort of initial stages of fundraising. Auditions will be right after Labor Day for November performances. the next big announcement, which we're doing right now. So it's exciting.
Okay, so if somebody is interested and wants to like get more information, best thing your Gmail account there.
Yes,
Okay.
viaomaha@gmail.com.
Yep. Okay, so I'll put that up on screen. So if you want to get a hold of Randall, and
Thank
do you have some sort of like a mailing list or something where people, if they send you an email, you can keep them updated on what's going on?
absolutely. Yep,
Okay.
yep. And they can also
All right.
ask for inquire about the script.
Okay. Inquire about the script. Okay, so tell me, how did you go about selecting this first play, Rotterdam?
I was determined. It's really easy to just to Google plays about, especially into plays regarding LGBTQ issues, and a list will come up. This one, it was nominated for an Olivier Award, which is the equivalent of the Tony Award in and I read the premise. I'm like, oh, that's interesting because it serves the needs of so many levels of having a company like this. So I bought it and I read it. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to do this play. So this show has been one of the plays I chose from the very beginning. I knew that I wanted to do it, and I wanted to do it. So that's kind of what I'm working towards in
Okay.
terms of cast.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I started reading through, you did send me the script, which thank you so much.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'll be honest, there's some common theme to my life. Um, the character's much younger than I was when I came out as trans at the tender age of 50 in
Sure.
2015. But there were similarities, some of the common themes of, coming out as trans when you're in a long-term relationship.
Mhm.
And, what does that mean for your partner? How does your partner now
Yeah.
identify? And I see that the play does address some of this, some of those questions and how all that works. And
Mhm.
I really love, the first act, because it's like they're having a discussion about one of them coming out to a family member, but it's just about being a
Mhm.
lesbian. And then the twist is that there's more to the story, which totally drew me in at that
Right.
point. Then I was like, "Oh my gosh, now I got to keep reading." And so, but it's so interesting because I don't unless you are going and picking up a book uh about the topic, there isn't a whole lot of things, I mean, I just watched a movie on
Right.
TV that was produced by um Billy Porter. He actually wrote it, came from him. I think he
Oh.
also wrote it and directed
Mhm.
it, called Anything's Possible, just a beautiful little, like, high school romance love story between a trans girl and, one of her classmates, and just kind of like the
Yeah.
unfolding of what does that look like, and of course, they address some of the common misconceptions and all of that, but, they don't focus on it so long. And this is something I'm seeing through this play and what I've read so far, and you're determined to also cast someone who is trans to play this character, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely. Which comes when you license the play. I think I sent. I'm gonna kind of read that what I sent to you. The
Yeah, let me
playwright,
pull that
the
up real
license
quick.
company will actually, yeah,
Oh,
the
if you've got
licensing company actually sends you a message from the playwright. As trans representation is really important. The character of Adrian is a trans. Every effort should be made to cast a trans, non-binary, or genderqueer actor in the part. This may mean looking beyond the usual pool of actors, proactively seeking out trans, non or gender queer performers, and/or beholding an extended audition period to accommodate this search. Binary and genderqueer actors should also be invited to audition for the other roles, and every effort should be made production as inclusive as possible. Amen.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so we have this, I don't know, you know this person? Somebody call you
Oh,
Toby?
oh, that's my cousin. She's sweet. The Toby's my middle name. And that's
Okay.
on Facebook, I'm Toby. So my mother's
Okay.
always known me by Toby since the day I was born. So
Oh, this is very
she's very,
cool.
very
Well,
supportive.
Haley,
Yeah.
thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Haley.
that just I mean, that just
Love
really
you.
touched my heart when I read that statement that you sent from the author. Um,
Yeah,
and I actually was reading about the author. The author actually is not trans, but had spent an
correct.
extensive amount of time researching prior to writing this and had a number of folks who are transgender who knew him as a playwright ask
Mhm.
him to write a play.
Yep.
So, I think that is
Yes, and
Go ahead, sorry.
well, no, he read that probably the same interview as well, and I really felt he attempt to do the work and do it honestly. Um, in the queer man's point of view, obviously not a trans man, but I really feel that he made, obviously he's a British playwright, and this show was produced in Britain, and there's a whole um, outlook on sexuality and identity in Europe as it is here, and people are a little more open for the most part, not all of them, but so I feel the approach to this script was super honest, and I look at a script and analyze it. There's obviously at the heart of it, it's a relationship drama
Yeah,
and what these two have to go through. But there's also the component of other. So there's a familial, which you probably have went through in your life as well, when you have to come out to the implications that has. And then there's the young lesbian taking interest in Alice, the other half of the couple, who also provides some conflict in the story, which that's the basis of all good drama is conflict. So
yeah. Well, and I mean, it's from what I've gotten through so far, there isn't anything out of the
mm,
ordinary in regard to that drama and in
right,
regard to that,
agree.
just the questions that come up for, um,
Hmm.
for the person who's transitioning, uh, and and what does that say or mean about their life? And I like that, you know, I mean, for myself, it took me a while to kind of get to where I am now, which I refer to myself now as two spirit because I'm indigenous. But my
Sure.
pronouns are he, they. And so, and I don't know why normally our pronouns are shown on screen, but they're not, but that's weird. But all right. Anyway, um, so I mean, it's taken me a while to get to a point where I feel comfortable in how I'm identifying and what I'm expressing to the world.
Right.
Like, it makes my heart swell when people get my pronouns correct and I don't have to correct them.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with a he, him pronoun.
Right.
I'm also cool with the they, them pronoun. But I also like the way that this is written because it's very specific. And that was something else I read in one of the interviews that they did with the author, with the playwright, and that he was like really specific about how he was going to refer to the character. And I noticed that
Yep.
once the character does disclose that they are trans or that they believe that they're trans,
Mm,
then there's a shift in pronoun references. And so I think it's really
yep.
beautiful, how it shows that fluid change, um, in all of that. And I mean, again, I'm reading through it
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, wow, I was in a long-term relationship when I came out as trans. So it really
Mhm.
reflects, um, a very similar experience that I went through. So, you kinda took me back to a
Absolutely.
time there in my life, so I just think it's, beautiful. I think it's a
Mm,
great play to kick off your, series. Do you
Thank
know
you.
where you're going to be at for this first play? Have you secured that location, or is that still something you can't talk about?
So, yes and no. Yes, I know where it's gonna be. I just need a yes from the individual who owns the gay bar at 10th and Pacific to say yes, but we'll
Oh.
most likely there in the so that's all I'll
Oh,
say.
so you're looking at doing it at the I think I know which bar you're talking about. Doing it in their performance
Yeah.
space? Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
very supportive. It's just we're just trying to connect. It's alright.
yeah,
Exciting because I love being in unorthodox performing arts spaces, and it's a beautiful stage. You only and it's lends itself to this particular play. Only 4 people. I can do some things, so I'm excited. And being in
yeah,
that space as well to do this story.
yeah, very cool. Um, I love that. Well, and I love that I'm
Yeah.
curious because you were talking about earlier about being part of the Blue Barn. Were you part of that production that had a trans character? I can't think of the name of it now. A friend of mine starred in
Mhm.
it. You were
Yep.
part of that?
He her he I was working there, I wasn't necessarily involved specifically, but here or her,
Yeah,
HIR. I know that individual, they're lovely. They're just
yes.
a lovely, 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 lovely person. I met them, um, and, it was amazing to have them, and that was kind of the first call for specifically for a trans actor at the time. Unless someone can correct me if I'm wrong, in the community, and they showed up and it all worked out.
Yeah, and it was, I believe there we go. Um, I do recall that because it was the very first ever play, I believe, or no, it was the first one with a trans actor as the main character or one of the main characters because there was a play that was
Or one of
done.
them. Yep.
Yeah, there was another play that was done, Mama's Girls, uh Yeah, I think it was called
Mhm.
Mama's Girls. It was at, a now defunct theater company that I would rather not talk about, um, for
Oh.
other reasons. But I did
Yep.
love that play. I went and saw that play. It was beautiful, very well done. It was also written by someone who's cisgender, but she just really got it
Mhm.
right. She just did such a beautiful job of it. So I'm actually really excited about this play and would be more than happy to continue to help get the word out once you're ready to, do your
Please,
casting.
please, please, please.
Yeah, so if
Thank
you
you, I
email
love that.
me
I've been
your casting information and all that, I can get that spread out. I've got a few groups that I belong to on Facebook that are transgender, non-binary specific, so would happily share that
perfect.
for you.
Thank you. I've been my friend teases me, but when I made the announcement I was doing this, I went on Facebook and I literally friending every queer boy, every drag queen, every trans man that I had mutual friends with, just to start casting the net. And I have people say, "Hi, you don't know me, but let me talk to you about this." And not to say this, so everyone take it with a grain of salt. But I have been using Grindr as a casting. I've met some beautiful young trans men. I said, "Hi." And I actually get past that first initial, I'm not a creepy old man. This is what I'm doing. And about 90 have been super responsive and lovely. I said, "Script, if you'd like to meet for coffee and talk about it. I'm not pre-casting, but if you'd like to talk about it and what to the playwright's point, just kind of casting, looking outside the normal pool of actors in town, which I kind of have to, and but I want to do, and I'm excited. And part of what I like is working with non-actor actors, and
Yeah.
that kind of grad school kind of got me ready for that. Working with undergrads who are a little green, I'd rather have someone who's a little green and be right for the part.
Yeah. Well, and, like I said, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
literally have groups that I belong to that are transgender, non-binary
Thanks.
specific that you would not have access to because you are not transgender. And these are not people who are
Right.
typically actors, but they're people who
Mhm.
maybe would consider playing a part um,
Yeah,
as their
I
first
would love
part.
that.
So definitely be somebody who you could be working with
Yeah.
who's not already a seasoned actor. And who knows, you may just get lucky
Right, right.
and find just the absolute perfect person for this part.
I would
So,
love that. I kinda would love that. I kinda would love that. So send them all my way.
well, I will definitely do that. So tell me a little bit
Thank you.
more about, I also can connect you to some. I don't know if you are familiar with the Equality Fund grant?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
Oh,
so
now you're
we'll
talking
need
my
to get you.
language.
Yes, because 'cause they're very specific about, giving grants to nonprofits that are LGBTQ plus founded and
Write
focused.
that down.
So,
Yep,
uh, so
yep.
definitely I'll get that, information to you. I think they're actually might even currently be open and accepting applications for grants. So I can
Ooh,
get that
okay.
information over to you.
Thank you.
But definitely, very,
Yeah,
very cool. So go ahead.
I'm writing stuff down. Keep talking. No, yeah, because as my research, you just there's a lot of access to grants if this mission and your focus, and it's exciting. It's overwhelming, which I'm in that right now, being overwhelmed with that part of it. Um, because right now. So back to one of your original questions about a board. Uh, so I have a paper just to get the 501(c)(3), which a lot of people do. But yes, having a board like someone like you, or and I'm gonna drop his name, Jonah Gilmore, who's on KTV News, is a queer man of color. I like that's the kind of people that I want the board to represent, or to the diversity of a board. To me, a true diversity of a board for an organization like this needs to look like that.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree
That's what I'm going to strive for.
100%.
That's sort of the
And,
next step.
also
Yeah.
at this point, it's like finding a board of folks who are willing to, understand that right now they're a working board. So you could look for people
Yeah.
who are willing to, help with communications needs, help with writing with grant writing, those types of things. And there are
Uh,
folks out there in the LGBTQ plus community who are looking for opportunities like that to serve on a board because it looks good on your resume.
yep.
Um, and so you just never know what you would find in casting that net and providing that space
Right.
for folks. Um,
Absolutely.
so I love that. But anyway, again, if you're just tuning in, I'm talking to Randall Stevens, who is the art. You said artistic director. What was your
Artistic
official?
director.
Artistic director for Voices in Alliance, which is a new nonprofit theater company. Here is their Facebook page. If you just search VIA Omaha, you would be able to find it. Or if you type in facebook.com/VIA Omaha, and that will bring you right directly to their page. But they're going to be casting soon for a play. It is called Rotterdam, written by John Britton, and the central character is transgender, and so they're gonna be focused on casting someone who is transgender, and this is female to male, transgender, so that is very, very cool. And then if you're looking to help this new found performance art theater company continue to do their work, you can certainly email Randall, who is my guest on the show today, at viaomaha@gmail.com. can volunteer, you can say that you want to be on the board, you can send him some information, send him some money to help. And let's see here. So here's, will you have all ages shows or will they be more for the adult crowd? This first play, will this one be a,
That's a
go
good
ahead.
question. The first one I would say is PG rated, right? PG 13. So if you had to rate it, and but there are shows definitely that you LGBTQ youth could be involved. We just have not got to that point yet.
Well, but I think that
I
she's
also
asking,
took
I think she's asking more so audience specific. So, Michelle, are you asking more
oh
for like people
yeah.
to come and watch the plays? Um, but yes, I mean, I also love that you're saying that you'll be looking at doing productions that will also have skew
Yeah.
for younger actors to try out for, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it always depend on the show. I will always encourage obviously anybody parentally can we should always ask. It's I will always be open-minded and let you know and always be your ultimately your decision. Um, but I want to be inclusive of everybody, including our wonderful youth that are the next generation. So it'll just be dependent on each show, I suppose, is the short answer.
Yeah. Very cool. So tell me again, you're planning on casting for this first production when? When are you
We're
looking
gonna
at?
look at so Labor Day is oh gosh, time is flying. I can't believe the summer's almost over. Labor Day is the 5th, probably the week after Labor Day, like sometime mid-September. I'll be announcing those soon on the Facebook and Instagram's page.
Okay.
Uh, yeah,
Okay. So we'll be keeping an eye out for that. Make sure you email that information to me so I can get
thank
that
you.
directly out to
Absolutely.
folks and make sure and get lots of people sent your way so you can just find exactly the right person to play
Thank
that role.
you.
Absolutely.
Oh, I
That's
can't wait. I'm
awesome.
excited.
Yeah, and then I'll be sure
Yeah,
to email you the information about equality, the Equality Fund, which is a really great
thank you.
fund. And
That's
like
awesome.
I said, I do believe that they're currently in their. I mean, so anybody who's watching, if you let me see if I can find it. I think I just got an email today or yesterday about the uh, the fund through the Omaha Community Foundation. That's what it is.
Oh
Let's
yeah.
see here. Grant, view all grant opportunities. I'm going to go find it quick. So anybody who's watching, it's a really great. The Equality Fund grant is just awesome because it is very specific to our
Yeah.
community. Let's see here. Application details. Oh, I thought it was open now, but I guess it doesn't look like it is. Yeah, here, I'll send this link over to you. Shoot that
Thank
to you
you.
in
I
email
think I know
quick.
which one you're looking. Is it the one that opens like January to March? Is that one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think yeah, it's on my list. But go ahead and send it to me too, because I've been scouring the internet to look.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And then I have another friend I can reach out to see because she sometimes has access to other information in regard to grant funding. So I can shoot her a
Oh, that'd
message,
be
maybe connect
great.
you with her as well to see if there's anything that
That'd
she
be
can help
great.
you with. Well,
Thank
what else can
you.
you tell us about Voices in
Thank.
Alliance? Everything's kind of still,
Well, I can kind of
fluid,
give.
it seems like.
Yeah, yeah. I can give you a little sneak preview of the other two things we're doing this season without actually saying them because I haven't secured the rights yet. Although we've applied for them, we just have to be approved. So one will be in March. There's a 2-night special event. We'll celebrate the stories of trans women written by for the voices of trans women without saying the title. And then the final will be another another location TBD. And the final show will be in June here, um, which is oh, what can I say without saying it? Will be there's a space that's almost secure, wants us to come do it, and it's kind of a modern. And to me, I read the damn play, and it's like a new modern masterpiece of queer storytelling. And that's, I know it's a lot. I know it's a big tease, but I'm excited. I'm excited, and I've already been kind of working and planting the seeds and spinning the wheels to get done. So I'm
Yeah,
excited to
well,
sort
I'm
of
really excited
get
for
out there
you,
and
and I
do it.
think
And
yeah, I think you're gonna
thank
have to
you.
come back on the show sometime when you have some, confirmed information that we can share with folks, so I can
I
help
know.
with
I
that.
know. I'm sorry.
I
Well,
didn't
once I get
realize it
Rotterdam
was
cast, I'd love to have. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, no, I was just gonna say, I mean, I didn't know, I can't even remember exactly how I found you. I think I was just kind of flipping through and somehow something came up and I saw it and I was like, "Ooh, what's this?" Kind of piqued my interest, which is when I reached out to you and was like, "Hey, I wanna talk to you." But I didn't realize that there were still some things in formation, and I totally get it. I mean, when you're starting a new 501(c)(3),
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of T's to cross and I's to
Yeah.
dot and things to do, and but I
Oh,
do really love that this
a
is
lot.
an LGBTQ plus focused, uh, created by and for LGBTQ plus people. 'Cause, I don't think we've ever
Yes.
had
Yes.
that in Omaha. There's theater production companies, but
No.
they've never been LGBTQ created and operated. So,
Right.
hats off
And
to
that's
you,
been my
man.
mission. And I want to thank you. And there's two components for me. Obviously, choosing the right stories, but then casting them correctly. I've been playing us gay characters and trans characters for years, and I just don't think another theater companies could do that, but I don't really think I need to do that. You know, when Jeffrey Tambor, who was in the show Trans on Amazon, I think, every time he'd win an Emmy, he's like, "I will look forward to the day I don't have to win to accept an award like this, where I can an actual trans can actually win the award." But and I want to do that for our and our rainbow, because I mean I don't need to. I just want to do the right work. I guess is my personal goal is to do the work,
Yeah,
talk
and
about it.
also
I want to
to
do it.
cre and create those spaces, like, Jeffrey's kind of a double-edged sword. There's some I
Yeah,
mean,
I know that was the best
granted
example, but
right, granted, very interesting that he said what he said, but again, at the end of the day, he also
but
caused some harm. But and that I
yeah,
think sometimes,
absolutely.
again, there's some issues that are created that have been perpetuated, by Hollywood and by,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
actors that are out there in the world, and we could talk about that in a whole other show, but, yes, I
yeah, that's a
agree
whole
that
nother series.
yeah, I totally
Because I've
agree and
been
appreciate
part of my
the
work was
fact
doing that research too. Yeah,
yeah, but I do totally appreciate the fact that you are, committed to having trans people play trans characters or a non-binary person playing that trans character because
100%.
non-binary people actually fall
Yeah,
under that trans umbrella. So, so
yes.
yeah, I appreciate that greatly, and I think that's wonderful. And so, I'm totally in support of what you're doing and excited and looking
Thank you.
forward to the play, coming to fruition and for you to,
Yep.
find a great cast.
Thank you. I look forward to I think you and I are good friends. I love to collaborate and work on something together, or just use your knowledge and loveliness and friend camaraderie. I think that's important to me too, to build these kind of artistic relationships. So I look forward to hopefully meeting you in real someday.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. I would love that, and maybe we can collaborate and
Right.
do something when the play actually opens, and, I've got some great live
I would love
streaming
that.
stuff, not to live stream the play, but to maybe, do a sit down at
Yeah,
the bar that you're thinking of having this and set it up and do a
I
whole
would love
interview
it.
with the
Yeah.
cast of the play and kind of talk about that as it gets closer to opening day. How's that sound?
I would love that. I would love that. That sounds amazing. You would be a great mediator, or not mediator, but a person to
Moderator.
sort of talk back. I think
Moderator,
you'd be
MC.
the perfect choice.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
So
Hopefully
tell
everyone
me
will get along.
a panel, just a moderator panel discussion, but
There you
I
go.
would be
There you
the
go.
MC
Perfect.
of the evening. So tell me, I mean, Randall,
I would love that.
what got you into acting and theater and doing what you do?
Oh gosh. So I guess it was in high. No, I was a pretty shy, introverted kid, and as I grew up in Bellevue's, and when I got to high school, I went into drama, and all of a sudden, everything. I'm like, oh, I could be something else. One of my first memories, which I just met with some of my high school colleagues at down in a bar in Bellevue. We all get along, and apparently, the earliest things I did was the mission was to imitate. So I did Joan Rivers, who was big at the time, in the 80s when she was still on the Tonight Show, and they all died. I remember this day, and I remember them laughing and appreciating me. I'm like, oh, little gay boy Randall, this is what you should be doing. So I auditioned for the musical that year. I got in, and yeah, just like, oh, this is what I need to be doing. So I grabbed Evan, and then we moved away for a while, came back, and in the summer of '89, there was an audition notice for a show at the over in Council Bluffs for Grease. So I was the chorus boy in Grease, and for like 10 years when I was young, I did like every show, every musical, every play at everywhere from Bellevue to the Playhouse. Um, and I just kind of found my what I needed to do. And I have lifelong friends I've met in the theater. And then about 2000, I started directing, and kind of by accident. And I was like, oh, this is what you need to be doing. Just and then I went away to school, and I, I just I just love it. I'm glad now I'm able to come back on my terms as opposed to somebody else, and just doing it the way and doing it the way I want, and giving back and contributing, and hopefully it'll be successful.
Yeah. Well, I hope so too. I mean, it sounds amazing,
Yeah.
and, so I look forward to seeing it come to fruition and for things to come together for you. So what else? What
Thank
else can
you.
you tell me about, what you got going on over there?
Oh my gosh. So I guess I don't know what working full time, working a part time job, and doing this is a lot, but I'm guess I'm never satisfied until I'm just sort of busy and pretty. This has just been a dream for a while, and to get to this point where, and trust me, there's been this, actually just today, as a matter of fact, where I was like, oh yeah, I can't do this, and my FF and sort of my vice president of the board technically is like, "Oh yeah, you're doing this, you're doing this," and she keeps pushing me in a good way, um, because these initial stage challenging when you're trying to balance the artistic side and the administrative side. It's really just me right now.
Yeah.
I don't have a $7 million theater, so and that's okay. I don't want one, but I'm excited about about meeting new actors and meeting new people in the community and telling these stories.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I know that I mean, I know that there can be just like there is just about anywhere though, there are gatekeepers in some of the, more
Oh yeah,
mainstream theaters, and there are people who are part of the current Omaha theater world where there are people who have kind of gotten in the way of it, I think. And,
yeah. I'll
I personally enjoy, kind of like that up and comer, the I don't know, I've always kind of voted for the underdog, so to speak. And I can tell you, I know from experience because I actually helped to, create and was one of the founders of Heartland Pride. Creating a nonprofit here in Omaha, especially one that specifically serves the LGBTQ plus community, can be a challenge. Not just
mm,
from the
yeah,
outside of the community part of it, inside the community can also be incredibly challenging.
yeah,
Because again,
yeah.
there's gatekeepers in the community. Like, God forbid you actually, you know, like, God forbid you actually try to do something good for our community without consulting the entire community.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See, and my friend Kate says the handicap accessibleness. There are a number of theaters that don't have great accessibility. I totally get that. I mean, I know that
Yeah.
Blue Barn has gotten okay. The Blue Barn Theater downtown has good accessibility. And I know
Mhm.
Benson Theater has, like, amazing accessibility.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
those are 2 good places to keep in mind as things kinda move forward for yourself, but maybe not Blue Barn,
Hmm.
but definitely Benson Theater. But
Oh
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, we've all been giving to a variety of different nonprofit organizations that don't directly serve our community. And imagine what would
Right.
happen if we started to put money into organizations that did specifically serve us. Not exclusively serve us, but
Yep.
specifically serve us. Um, so yeah, so I
Absolutely.
think it's awesome. What else do you got for me, Randall?
Yeah. My goodness, Eli. Um, I think that's all I have for right now. I guess more details to come. I'm anxious to announce the last two shows. I think will be pretty special. But soon that'll happen. What's today? Today's July. Oh, at least within the month. I will say we had a so I work part time at James Neal Market waiting tables because it's ridiculously good money, so I do it. And but they for the past 2 years have done a fundraiser for an LGBTQ organization. They'll have a drink, a gay drink, if you will, and all proceeds will go to X. Well, this year they surprised me. All the proceeds were going to go to Voices in Alliance. So they started on June 1st, ended on July 16th, which is almost they had a cocktail called Drinks in Alliance, and they had a brewed hour, which is Pride Sour, which is out of Colorado, and then a non-alcoholic version. And we raised about 2,500. So that's how we're starting. So I'm off to a good start.
Yeah, very nice. And you know what? If you're getting connected with the
Yeah.
local drag performers, I mean, they love to do fundraisers
Oh
and
yeah.
whatnot. So, maybe connect with
Yeah.
one of the drag performers that you've been connected with or getting to know, and they might be able to support you as well. I would also reach out to
Mhm.
Heartland Pride. They are always looking for organizations, like I said, who are specifically serving our community to help uplift and support them. So,
Great
I would go
idea.
ahead and reach out to them and just let them know that you're here and that you exist and that you're doing
Yeah.
this work. and they might be able to take a look at ways that they can also support the work that you're doing. So, it's always
Thank
great to
you.
make those connections,
And I
you know?
yeah, and I kinda this year, but it wasn't quite ready 'cause they'd already by the time I made my announcement, like, I know they were kind of already in their whole final planning stages. So I'm like, "Well, I'll do it next year, next
Yeah,
summer, because 'cause I'm definitely for sure had thought about that."
yeah. Well, and I mean, right now, it didn't really work out in your plans because there's not a whole lot you coulda shared as you were
Right,
still trying
exactly,
to
exactly.
get everything ironed out, right? So, it's all good.
Right. They
So, what
yeah.
else? What else can you tell me, Randall? What else can you share?
Oh, um, well, let's see. So auditions will be mid-September. Performances for Rotterdam will probably be November as we work out details. Weekends in November, Thursday,
Okay.
Friday, Saturday. Um, Urge everyone to reach outside your comfort zone and come audition. If you don't think you're right, I don't care anyway.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
it'll be I am dedicated to in my rehearsal spaces being a safe space, being a place of art and joy, and um, no toxicity is allowed in my life ever again.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a little deep, dark, but we could save that for another podcast, another
Well,
interview.
I'll tell
But
you,
yeah, I
I
just don't. I
mean
want to,
yeah.
you know, you get it.
Oh, no, I totally get it. I've, encountered
Yeah.
some of the toxicity of which you speak in some of the theater community circles, so, like I said, there are
Yeah, I
folks
don't
who've
want
been
that.
doing it for a while, and then they become pretty big gatekeepers, and then they, try to squash folks who are looking to do things
Yeah,
like you're looking to do. And I'm just glad that you're continuing
yeah.
to, push forward and make this dream a
Amen.
reality. So, and that's the best you can do,
Yeah.
and I know that it's hard, I know
Thank
that
you.
it gets hard sometimes. I mean, there's plenty of days where I think, "Why do I do this speaking of happy thing?" And then I have to remind
Which I
myself,
love it.
it's because I love having conversations with people. I love what when like I did go to Pride. I have this big, speaking of happy, Pride trailer that has a huge, intersex inclusive progressive pride flag with two spirit feathers on it. And I took that to a number of different pride celebrations in Omaha this year, or not in Omaha, but in Nebraska. I did go to Omaha Pride this past, what was it? Not this last weekend, but the weekend before. And I'll tell you, my favorite conversation was with an 11-year-old at Youth Pride on Friday
Mhm.
night. And just the wisdom that came out of this kiddo's mouth, and just, just the way he shared about what pride means to
Yeah.
him. It was like, "Okay, you just reminded me. This is why I do what I do." So, yes, and
Yeah.
I've got my friend Kate is making a banner for me. Thank you, Kate. So I can't wait to see my
Thanks,
big
Kate.
rainbow banner that Kate's making for me. So yeah, so I mean, but I can totally understand that. When you're kind of feeling like you're doing the solo journey. I'm so mad because I got a stain on my shirt today. I didn't realize it until I got on camera, so that's why I keep messing with my shirt, trying to hide my stain. Um, but I totally can relate to that feeling of, gosh, why am I doing this? Why, because you can run into
Yeah.
a ton of different roadblocks along the way, and then kind of end up kicking yourself. But so if you ever need a kick in the butt and some support and some inspiration, you are welcome to reach out to me anytime, and I will
I
remind
appreciate
you
that.
of the
Thank you.
greatness that is what you were focusing on.
Ooh,
So
got me on this guy. Oh, I'm not supposed to make you your guest cry. Eli, geez. I
Well, I don't always make them cry. Sometimes I make them cry, but
I know. In a good way, it's a good cry.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I
I
appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. I'm very
Yeah. You are so welcome. Like I said, anytime. Anytime you need a little uplifting conversation, you can reach out to me and I will, sing your praises. But I'm excited about, as you get closer to confirming, everything that's going on with this particular play, we will definitely, coordinate something with that particular bar that you're talking
thank you.
about, and I'll come down and we'll set up and we'll do an in-person live stream, with the cast. So that might
I
be
would
kinda
love
fun.
that. That'd be
Yeah.
amazing. That'd be amazing.
Alright.
So details TBD.
Alright. That sounds awesome. Well, unless you've got anything else, I think we're gonna close out a little bit early tonight. We normally go a little over, but
All
that's
right.
okay. We can close out early, but Randall, thank you so much. For those of you who might be tuning in late, you can actually find out more about what Randall is up to by going to facebook.com/VIA Omaha. And it's Voices in Alliance is the name of the organization. It's a theater company that is run by and for the LGBTQ plus community. So thank you very much, Randall, for your commitment to
Thank
having
you.
to creating this organization. And if you want to get involved, you can email Randall directly by emailing viaomaha@gmail.com. Randall is looking for volunteers. He's looking for folks who are willing to do grant writing, maybe help promote, maybe volunteer during a casting call and welcoming people in and helping get them settled while they're doing the casting kind of thing. So lots of opportunities there. Just shoot an email over to Randall and he will connect you with something to do. Right?
Thank you.
All right. You're so welcome. Thank you so much, Randall. That's it for me tonight. We
Thank
will see you
you.
soon. You're welcome. Thank you so much to those of you who tuned in. Michelle, my one of my biggest fans, and their child who is non-binary, who I got to meet in person at Pride, which was also very cool. My friend Kate the Great. Thank you. You're awesome, Kate. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate Haley tuning in and saying hello to Toby. That's the T stands for Toby, for those of you who might be wondering, like I was wondering earlier. And thank you all so much for tuning in.
All
That's
right.
it for us tonight. Good night.